Well, now, who would have thought that I would be done? I was starting to worry that I was not going to get this kit done. But, yeah, I've done it. I finished painting all the parts. And I may be saying it falsely, even though I know I painted all the parts. There's always that one little part that just comes out of nowhere and say, hey, boss, you forgot me. And I'll be like, great. Now I gotta go back and prepare the airbrush again and have to prime it and paint it and redo it and see if it's the right tone, right angle, right whatever. But this is me. This is an intermission right here because I needed to drink my coffee. But yeah, I finished painting all the parts that makes up the perfect grade Unleashed new Gundam. Every part. I know I've seen one or two that I may have missed. I'm just want to get through the majority of them done, and then I'll get to those later on. There may be parts that I say to myself, okay, that may need another coat, may need another angle, whatever, I don't know. I just needed to vent a bit. I need to calm down. I need to relax. I need to, breathe. Just literally and utterly breathe. Because I have never had a project like this in a long time. I built perfect grade kits before, and I know what to expect, but obviously this is a whole new animal. And my first Unleashed, and of course not my last, maybe, because I still have another Unleashed kit that I haven't worked on yet. It goes to say that we reached the pinnacle on a very, very high demand build kit like this. And you say to yourself, where do we go? Where does Bandai go from here? How are they going to outdo this build? Or how are they going to do a build where they can bring it back to normal? Because not everybody's going to have the funds to get this. And I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years where you're going to see this thing knocked off maybe another, a C note or two. Make it easy for those who have not purchased a kit. And don't get me started on the knockoffs. I'm not even going to go that route. No. This, my hat's off to you. However, now that I'm saying that I've completely painted all the parts, I did say that I'm going to put it on the table. And I will. Let me finish my coffee, and we'll review all the colors. Get ready for the montage of parts. Alright, so the first set of parts that I want to show off is the yellows. We're going from, random here. I was going to do small, least amount to most amount, but I picked up the yellow first because it's pretty. Very, very pretty. And not all accounted for. This is the parts that represent the funnels, especially these. I know this is for the feet. I don't know what that is. That is, of course, for the crotch. The vents are right there. That's for the backpack. I know that's for the V-fin. And all of them are good except for one part. And if you could see it, it has a weird greenish tone. I don't know where the hell that came from. It is not the same color tone as these yellows. I painted all the yellow parts first white. And then I painted it with the other color, which, quite frankly, is not nearby where I can show it to you. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to strip the paint on this guy again with the paint remover, repainted white and repainted the yellow color to see if I can get the right tone. That's fixable. So that's not a big deal. All the yellow parts are accounted for, so there you go. Alright, next up is all the red parts that you see here. Using the Gaia Pure Red. Try to get it nice and shiny. Don't see no issues here. However, when you touch parts, you'll feel how nice and smooth. And that's a good sign that the paint dried pretty well. However, when I was touching this one, obviously it was nice and smooth. This one here had a bit of a rough course on it. In which case now I could see that it may need another light pass. That's fixable right there. Also, some of my the back thrusters, I could see like a little bit of the primer showing there. So again, maybe I'll put 2 drops of red in the airbrush, and about 2 drops of thinner. Give it a light pass on these 2 guys to finish it up. Even out the color tone. But everything looks good here. One final note. This one was painted also red, but it was supposed to be a darker red, which I have not done yet. I'm being very, very lazy. Hopefully by the time I finish this, I'll get around to doing this little guy as well. But all the red parts are now done here. Alright, next up is the silver parts that make up the funnel parts for the funnels. I painted this ice silver. This was the original color in the back, if you could see that there. Hold on, I hope we could... Can we see that properly? I don't know. But yeah, that's what it looks like behind, and then I painted it in this color tone. It came out really good. Very simple parts, nothing too crazy, but these were done. Alright, the next color is the dark gold color, which I used Super Copper from the Super Metallic 2 line of paints. They look okay, except that the lighting is a little bit weird on this, and it's not even in my room, so one looks a little darker, the other one's a little lighter, but if you bring it to the light, you can see that they're really good. Very good. Yeah, I wasn't, even though it was metallic plated, if I'm going to show off a better quality of gold, it had to be painted. I know that this one is probably under the chest part area, which looks pretty good. Hold on a second. You could see. Yeah, this one came out pretty good. I'm surprised it was very, very small. Few amount of parts of this, but these are all the plating of that dark gold that's now completed. Here are all the lighter gold colors. I used I used 207 Super Gold, which had a lighter tone. Took care of a lot of issues that I found. Again, you can barely see it because of the lighting and the angle, but it did come out pretty good. Like here, the actual tone of the color and the smoothness came out very, very nice. That was a wise idea, a wise choice to prime it black. I could have done maybe white primer or white, like painted white itself, kind of like what I did with the yellow, but I thought gloss black would have been great for that, and that's what I used for this kit. But these are all the parts. So far nothing is lost, everything is all accounted for, so that completes all the gold parts. Alright, here are all the silver parts of the PG New Gundam.
This is me using the silver color from Gaia. It's a little bit more darker tone. I think this is fine. All parts are accounted for. I saw one part that was a little darker than normal, but then again, this is all going to be under the armor. The ones that were more focused on were like these little metallic type parts that look like tubing, which looks really nice if it was like a chainmail. Obviously, Ben, I was not gonna splurge on a fabric chainmail for this. Something like this is already good. I am digging the hands, how they look. You have the open hand, closed hand, and the fist hand. And that's something I wanted to talk about. I am not going to be painting the fingers of this. And I just realized that after me painting the little open fingers that open up to fire the dummies, I like the parts forming hand. And for me to paint the fingers, you got to paint the inside of the joints to match the color of that. And that's ridiculous for me to do something like that. No, that's not enough for me. So this is done and this is ready to go. Next parts I was working on is, of course, the brown parts. Now, I used burnt iron, which was at first a logical choice because I had a bit of a brownish tinge to it. But after I spray painted it over the black, it was still like a little bit of a metallic tone. It didn't have that brownish tone, which I was hoping for. However, I went and purchased clear brown, and that gave me the brownish tone that you could see right here. It looked really, really nice. I don't know if you guys can see this in the light, but it is a lot better, and it brings out the parts a lot easier to see. So at least that came out pretty good. Very few parts here, but it's spread out across the kit pretty well. And at first I was going to like leave it the way it is, but I said to myself, you know what? Metallic brown does look kind of good. Alright, the next parts are the navy blue parts. That I use the navy blue paint by Gaia. I primed it with black first, and then painted the navy blue over it, which came out really, really nice and smooth. Good coverage too. Very, very well good. Very, very nice. Very few parts, of course, but they're large parts, especially here in the area of the calf armor. That came out really good. And just so you know, these are extra parts here. So if you want to make the double fin funnel, you can. The one thing I was more worried about is the chest parts right there, which came out really good as well, as you could see. Yeah, everything looks very, very well done. Oh yeah. Good. That came out good. Alright. These are all the inner frame parts. This is the like the dark gray metallic, which I painted. And that was, I was using the metal black, which is what you see here. This has this nice little shine to it, as you could see in the camera. Oops, let's see. Looks like a little part was inside. Probably some parts inside as well. This is technically not all of it because there's all the smaller ones that you see right here that I put on the tray. For me to squeeze it in onto this mat is impossible, and I have a feeling that's going to be the same for the other massive amount of parts that I have as well. So we're talking about the majority of the chunk of larger parts that you see here. The legs, I believe that's probably the chest part there. That's another part of the chest part here, waist part, the parts for the arm. Can't tell what those are yet. Feet, I know that's part of the feet right there. Forearm, I believe. Bazooka, over there, the beam rifle here, the skirt armor, that's part of the joint of the connection of the arm. I believe this is also a joint part for the arm as well. Those are the connectors as well for that, probably for the legs. This is all guesswork, of course, but this was a lot of work and a lot of paint and a lot of time that I was focusing on. That's why I worked on the massive amounts of parts first on the inner frame before I worked on the outer frame. And after over a week or so of me finishing this up and now reviewing it, I'm like saying to myself, oh my god, I can't believe I did all this. But you see it right here. Alright, this is the next set of colors that I painted for the inner frame. And this one was the one that I was using the Gaia Notes gunmetal color, which, quite frankly, it is much more shinier than the other color that I painted. And this is perfect because you could see, the quality difference between one tone of metallic to the other. So you see a contrast there. A 3-tone color tone. Now again, like the last part before, there were so many parts to this that I cannot put them all on the table. Everything is in here on this tray. Also, this allows me to review, and I noticed a few things. I noticed maybe this part here, even though this is nice and shiny, this one's a little coarse. So a part that I'm going to need to clean up. So I have that one and I have that one there. I'm going to review everything here just in case. And I'm going to repaint it again. Sometimes you miss these. It happens all the time. We're not all 100% perfect. But at least I catch them and then redo them again. Make sure they're nice and perfect and accountable. And accounted for, that is. But yeah, I think my favorite part, of course, is the shield. I should have done another tone color for this, but nah, no big deal right there. But everything is all here and perfect. Alright, so this is the inner frame parts that I painted for the funnels. This was in the third box for the funnel set. It was not I didn't incorporate it on the inner frame parts for the for the standard new Gundam. Considering that a majority of this was all funnels, and of course you have the hands and some 2 detail parts right there. For this, I used the graphite black paint for this, and originally I was going to actually use Tactics Blue 1, but graphite black seemed okay. I kind of like that one better. It was a little bit smoother, and if you look at this right here, it has a nice smooth look to it. And painted the inside of the funnels, as you can see here. This one I only painted this side, and even though I painted all this, it was not all that much uniformed. I'm probably going to leave that alone for now. But what's concerning me, after now displaying it here on my table, and that's why I do this, are these little parts right here. And if I take this one and this one here, one, you may not see this, but one is lighter than the other. And putting it here and use standard lighting and not a direct light, I can see like that part, that's a little lighter, that's a little lighter. It's not all uniform. And this is the part that goes on the side of the funnels and flip open and close. Even if it's closed, it's still not uniformed. So I'm going to have to redo these again. It happens all the time. Sometimes you don't, like in the last part of the parts that I was looking at. So I'm going to probably deal with that later, because I'm going to see if I can get the kit built first, and then I'll get to the funnels will be the last thing to build. But at least now I see what's required. Don't have to worry about the joints because they're going to be inside and they're going to be mobile. The only parts that I had to worry about was like on this side here, these parts here. Don't know how much of this part is exposed, but the sides are okay. and those parts were fine as well, so I'm good with that. Came out really nice. So the next colors I was working on is all the black parts. And again, majority of the black came from the funnel set, but of course it bled over to the armor as well. You have parts of the calf armor. I believe that's for the legs. That's the feet. That part is over there for the forearm, right there. Foot there. Parts of the bazooka. Backpack right there. And of course, all the funnel parts that you see here. And I was using Gaia's pure black on this, which of course, after I completed it, I was a bit. I said, okay, it came out okay. But now that I put it on the table to take a look at this, I'm running into the same situation that I had with the graphite black that I painted on the inner frames for those funnels in the last part of the video. And I am seeing some inconsistency. Some of them did not paint well. Either there's a bit of an oversaturation or lack thereof, and it is an uneven look. This one's kind of fine, but in the light you can actually see, like, this one's a little lighter down here and that's a little darker, and it's like, wait, how in the hell did that work? I was like, I thought I got everything right, and then I just found out about this part. This little weird bubble just came out of nowhere, and I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there. So I need to strip this one down and redo the whole thing again. It's annoying. Black has always been... I've always had issues with black. And again, when you use light to see if you did it right, it will show you, like, okay, it's an even surface, even coverage. But then it betrays you once you're looking at standard light, when you have like normal light. Right now, with all my lights hitting it, I'm seeing different angles. I'm seeing this part here that even though it's all black, the edges are a little whiter than normal. It's not, it didn't take... Again, I'm going to have to go through this same situation where I have to redo them again. I knew this was going to happen. It happens to everybody. I couldn't be the only person that's having the same situation. I just kind of need to redo the whole thing all over again. Not all of it, just some of them. But I have a distinct feeling that I'm going to have to redo it anyway. However, this is all the black parts. Partly done, needs to be redone again. Alright, here are all the gray parts that makes up the PG new Gundam. Again, not majority, but all the section here is for the funnels. But I see detail parts for the head, shielding parts right there, beam rifle part. I don't know what that is. Some smaller details in areas of the body that I don't know of. I know that's probably for the funnels. There's a part for the waist unit here and here. Plating for the armor on the legs, maybe on the arms, I don't know. But yeah, here are all of them right here. Now, again, mistakes. I have found mistakes here and there. This one didn't come out right. It felt a little oversaturated, and there's some pit marks, you know, like little particles that fall on the part when you're airbrushing, and that happens every now and then. So I can strip that. Everything looks okay except for this part here. This one got screwed up, and again I'm gonna have to strip the paint, prime it, and then paint it again. So take care of that one. I am noticing like this one needs a little bit more gray, and that as well. But other than that, I'm quite pleased with this. This was the gray that I was using, the foundation gray from the finisher paints, and it's still a good paint, very strong, but it has that nice little semi-gloss to it. If you could see it here, that it came out really nice. And funny thing, when I gave it the first coat, and I let it dry, I noticed the it didn't settle in right. It looked a little weird, and I did something. Hold on a second. So I took one of the parts and I saw like little dots and filaments on it, or anything that, like little particles. And what I did was I took this. This is a sanding sponge. This is a 3000 grit sanding sponge. And I lightly passed over it, which kind of buffed it out, and then it showed, it was clean. And then I re-spray painted it again. And it came out okay. I was trying to do it on dot one, but when I noticed that bulge of paint must have collected, maybe it was a little too wet at the time, I said, alright, that needs to be cleaned up. But something like this here, like, okay, you could see that right there. There is a bit of a filament. Let me see if I could zoom in a bit. In the reflection of the light, you could probably see it there. Come on, I just saw it in the light. Alright, well, it's there. There it is. So, I'm going to take this, give it a little buff a bit to see how well it looks. And as you can see, it is now smoother, and the little particle that was there is gone. Now all I have to do is, when I respray paint the other gray, I'll just spray paint this one as well, and we're done. So that's all the grays. And finally, all the white parts on display here on this table. All of them, except for the funnels, which I had to put here in this little box so you guys can see. All the funnel parts are here. And as I'm looking in the light, I see no discrepancies whatsoever. At all. They look all good. All this looks good except for one part, which I did find. Let me see if this is it. Nope, that ain't it. I think it's this one right here. I guess a collection of paint formed up here. So definitely I'm going to have to work on that. Not a big deal. Only one part. I don't see any other parts here that will require it. I mean, the white coverage came out pretty good. I see this one, but there was so much detail that you can barely even notice it. And it's going to be covered up anyway, so I'm not gonna sweat over that. The bazookas are good. All these parts are okay. Yeah, this is a lot of work, especially the shield. That shield took a lot out of me, because trying to get the right coverage was not as easy as you think. I haven't even top coated it yet. But yeah, like this surface area looks very nice. Of course, in the inside I had to paint it as well. But yeah, the shield came out amazing. I have to say that I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to do all this, even though I know that there are certain parts that I need to go back to and retouch up again. And that happens, you know. It's the name of the game. We all go through this. All you guys go through this as well. Just gotta be patient. You gotta take your time. You know, they always say measure twice, cut once, paint once, paint it again, and paint it one more time in case you missed it. That's my motto. Oh my god, I am very, very exhausted. Actually, I'm more exhausted of me displaying all these parts for you guys to see than me building it. And I haven't even gotten to that part yet. But wait until this weekend, because the final assembly will begin. Me putting all the parts together. That's going to be a long, it's going to be a long weekend. I hope you guys will join me and see this. So thank you. Let me put this back in the box. Let me begin preparing for the final assembly.